All right, what is up? Welcome to Speak Truth Sports. I'm Bert. Today I'm here with Tay, and we are talking about something that is kind of flying under the radar a little bit, but is very, very important to the future of the NFL. And that is that the NFL Players Association, which is the union for the players in the NFL, they are kind of in a vote. They're kind of deadlocked right now as to whether or not they should bring back Maurice Smith as the executive of the NFLPA. And so, according to ESPN and multiple other sources, his time could be coming to an end. He's held the job for 12 years, so since 2009, and the vote that they just recently had was evenly split 7-7 as to whether or not he should stay on a 3-year contract or not. Mm-hmm. So now they have to vote again. And if 22 of the 32 player reps for each team vote to retain him, then he will be reelected. But if he doesn't get 2/3 of the player reps, then it becomes an election basically for the next NFLPA executive director. So they'll have to hire they'll have to hire a search firm to present with candidates. But theoretically, anybody could run, particularly former NFL players specifically. And a lot of the movement to try and kind of move on from Maurice Smith was from Richard Sherman, actually. Yeah. And I believe also probably J.J. Watt and probably Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, yeah.
They were the most vocal about being dissatisfied with the CBA. So.
Yeah, I would say that the fact that that he was hired with no former NFL experience kind of just like it's kind of just like a slap in the face to a lot of players.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was elected by the players is also the contradicting part to it as well. So it's kind of just like, he sold them in the beginning, and he kind of showed his real cards once everything kind of went on, and he got hired himself. I know so far he's done some good things, of course.
Yeah,
he's had the job for 12 years, so obviously they've been fine with him. But I think it's more so as of late he's becoming more of just a problem to a lot of these players.
Yeah, it was this recent CBA that really ticked a lot of players off, and Maurice Smith, if a lot of people probably don't know much about him. I didn't know much about him until I heard of this news and I started researching him. Apparently, he actually is a lawyer. He was a trial lawyer and litigation partner in D.C. Eventually, he ended up working for the Department of Justice. And then somehow he ended up as the executive director by unanimous vote. So it wasn't even close to
close, yeah.
And he won it over Troy Vincent, Trace Armstrong, and a sports attorney named David Cornwell. So he won it over people that you expect should have gotten
to win.
2 former NFL players and a sports attorney. And so, I mean, we were kind of speculating, could he have been a plant? I don't know. Either way, he did do good things for sure. But this recent CBA had a lot of fine print that a lot of players that read the CBA did not like and were very vocal about it. And, it felt like he didn't bargain hard enough, or he didn't argue hard enough for the players in this most recent CBA.
Yeah, it more so seems like he was kind of just like laying down to the NFL and, the reps that they have, and kind of just, agreeing with them with whatever they were going to give him. He wasn't really trying to, fight back or push back anymore like how he usually does. So I think once players kind of saw that he was kind of getting weak, he's not really pushing back to stand up for the players as much as he used to, they're kind of over it. Knowing Richard Sherman, he's all about standing up for the players and being there for his guys in the NFL. So once he sees the main guy that they have to go through to get this to happen, he's kind of just laying down and just kind of accepting whatever is coming to him. They're not going to fall. They're not going to, take that pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, this CBA that they just signed is going through 2030. So if they don't like certain stuff in the CBA, the players that are currently playing most likely can't really do anything about it.
Exactly.
Except for the young guys like maybe like Justin Herbert as he ages or something like that. But these guys that like JJ Watt, Tom Brady, Richard Sherman, they can't do anything to help themselves at this point. Their road has been already like paved.
Yeah, exactly.
And also just kind of going over some of the stuff in the CBA that like made players very angry was a big thing was adding the extra game. A lot of players did not want to play an extra game unless they got a higher revenue share. They did get a higher revenue share, but it went from 47% to 48%. Not a big increase. A lot of people wanted 50-50 if they were going to do 17 games. Also, it was brought up that maybe they go 18 games, but they also give an extra bye week, and then they make it 50-50. I don't think that went very far, but they kind of tried to compromise, and it was kind of to the players. It wasn't really to the players' benefit. They made preseason a week shorter, basically, and they didn't give an extra bye week, but they still won 17 games.
Which is like, you think if you really think about it, it's not really doing much for players that, starters who aren't necessarily playing in preseason anyway.
Yeah.
Preseason is mainly for the guys who are trying to win spots on their teams. The last week of preseason, you might send your starters in for like 2 drives, just, for them to kind of get warm and get used to each other again and get used to playing on the field and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, knocking off a preseason game isn't going to do much to guys who get hit every play of the game for 17 weeks, and only still get 1 bye week. So, it's not really doing much for these guys. They're not really getting as much downtime as they would like, which is, any guy in the NFL want more downtime to, let their body heal. And, when you're just adding the game and not really giving them more time to heal, you're kind of just saying, hey, hopefully you can stay healthy for another extra week. We're not really worried about you. Stay healthy an extra week, and you'll get paid. But it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and honestly, I believe in the NBA, they're already at a 50-50 split for the owners and the players. I'm surprised that the NFL hasn't gotten there yet, because the NFL makes a substantial amount of money, and I feel like the owners wield almost too much power in the NFL. And that's why we were kind of speculating about the plant. That's like conspiracy level like speculation, but that's kind of why we were speculating it, because how do you not increase it to at least closer to 50-50 than like 1%, And there's also a lot of fine print in the CBA that a lot of players did not like. And a lot of, let's be real, like 2,500 players voted on this.
Yeah.
I don't think all of them read the fine print, because there's that new rule where if a player gets hurt, not in the training facility of the team, they don't
get paid.
They can void his contract completely. They don't have to pay him a cent. And
I believe it already happened to one guy this year. He was on, I can't remember the team. I just know it was a lineman. I remember seeing about it. I'm like, how is this possible? How do you end up not paying a guy for getting injured, trying to, make himself better to perform for your team, which is kind of nuts to me.
And a lot of times, the facilities aren't open 24/7. A lot of facilities are not. And the Bengals don't even have an indoor practice facility. So
exactly,
it's like you're really screwing these guys over in the end. And it's a lot of little stuff like that ticked people off, like JJ Watt, who was vocal about how much he hated it, and Richard Sherman and Tom Brady. It's a lot of little stuff like that. And what the NFL does is kind of shady, where they give all the good stuff and they present it to all the media outlets. So they report on that, and everyone reads it and they're like, well, this is great. Why wouldn't anyone accept this? But they hide the other stuff behind closed doors. They only show it to the players. And it kind of makes people turn against the players and be like, man, why aren't you guys just accepting this? Like, this is a good deal for you guys. You're getting more money, all this and all that. But we're not open to the private details like they are. Right.
Yeah,
so it's kind of shady.
It's really just a lot of shady business going on, which is a big reason why JJ Watt Brady, Sherman were three guys that kind of spoke up like, hey, these guys are, implementing some things that we're not really agreeing with. And you guys are trying to hide it in these like little small fine prints that most guys aren't going to read and look up on. Average guys are going to have, obviously they're going to have the lawyers look at it, but they're going to say, hey, let me know if it's good enough for me to, play this year. I'll sign off on it, and then, go about my day.
Yeah. But that's mostly all I have to say on this. I'm interested to see who they will vote to be the next NFLPA executive, because I expect him to lose. I'm not gonna lie. That 7-7 like split is not a good sign, and especially with a lot of the player reps, were the people that were vocal against the CBA. They're probably going to vote him out, and if they do, I'm interested to see who will step up. I mean, I know Marshawn Lynch just got a new position with the NFLPA as a chief ambassador.
Yeah,
like that.
Pretty much. They knew he was smart with his money, and they would want him representing the league pretty well to help with their brand and everything like that, because he's already doing so well with his own brand. So why would not have him come into the NFL with his own brand and just have his ideas branch off of everybody else?
Yep.
Which is a good thing. I'm glad they got a former player. And of course, a guy that's loved by everybody in the NFL. You get somebody like that, that's always good. So it's gonna bring just good morale to the guys around the NFL in general.
Yeah, I think the next person needs to be a former NFL player, because there's certain things you can only understand if you're an NFL.
If you've experienced it before, you can't expect guys who've never experienced it, who have no clue what these guys are actually going through, to really know what they actually need and what they really actually want.
Yeah, it's just different. It's like, you can't really understand unless you've been in those shoes before. And if a former player is the next executive, I think it would bode well for 2030 and beyond. But for right now, yeah, they're kind of in a pickle. So.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that they definitely should have to get something on the way. I would imagine that they don't win this election, and that they end up having to get somebody like you said. If it's already been split 7-7, I'm already guessing that most guys on these player reps for these teams are gonna say, yeah, let's just move on. I'm guessing Richard Sherman's gonna pass the message along, and he's gonna say, hey, let's move on. Let's get one of these former NFL player guys in here to really help us get this job done.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys updated on the situation. This is all the news we have out right now as of when we're recording this. Yeah, that's all I really got to say on this. So thank you all for watching. I've been Bert.
Tae. See you guys later.
We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching.